I'm Sally Mills of Lavolta and Lavolta Principles, and welcome to Digital Bullets 2010. We've asked some industry experts to share their thoughts on issues and developments in the digital industry, giving each person 20 seconds to answer those questions or else they get the chop. So we'll be broadcasting a sizzling digital bullet on a regular basis, one question answered with many different points of view. Hope you enjoy. Apple recently released the iPad to compete with Amazon's Kindle, and the e-reader market is tipped to be the next major growth area for mobile device manufacturers and for content providers. How do you see this channel developing over the next few years? What forms of content will be consumed on e-readers, and will it be mainly paid for or ad-supported? Will we see a plethora of apps for e-readers in the same way that has happened for smartphones?
E-readers, the iPad, etc., are yet another enhancement, another development in the world of the iPhone. If you think about it, it's just a bigger format. Will it provide better value, etc.? I think there'll be new forms of content that are presented. It will be ad-supported, far more than paid-for content. At the end of the day, you're paying to access it, and it will lead to a degree of innovation around it. However, I don't believe it will fundamentally change the way we do things.
Yes, we will see a great number of apps for the iPad, starting off with gaming and entertainment apps. Whether they'll be paid for or free and ad-supported, I think will develop over a period of time, but certainly I think the trend is towards free apps to consumers and then ad-supported.
I don't see the iPad as being actually a Kindle competitor. I think it's more than that. And I think that the way people can use the devices will really give us sort of the guidance about what they're going to do. How does it make a difference in their everyday lives? What are they going to be doing with such a device? And I think we'll start to see that driving the apps, the content. Whether people are willing to pay for content, I think it's going to be the same argument. I don't think it'll be that much different to the one that we're currently having with mobile and with the web. But it really comes down to what people find useful in their everyday lives and whether they're willing to pay for that extra sort of difference it makes on a daily basis. So I think it'll be a mixture of paid and ad-funded, very much in the way that we see it now with specialist services. Where people really want it, they'll pay for it.
The rules of who will win in that market are the ones who are most open. So those who make it open and easy to access content will win. The notion that people are going to pay for content for everything, I think, is nonsensical. Books, etc., videos, no problem, we'll pay for it. But just for general news, which we can get from a multitude of sources, I think the sort of notion of this is going to suddenly turn internet news into some sort of massive money spinner are just basically incorrect.
From my perspective, the iPad is just a bigger smartphone or a bigger iPhone, and I think that we'll see similar types of things happen with the iPad as to the iPhone. More people will start to use it, more people will start to consume more content, but it is all reliant on people's ability and want to read books and read more. And if they don't want to read, it's not really going to have the success.
It's going to be paid for, and it's also going to be ad-supported. In fact, Wall Street Journal today announced $19 per month access on e-reader to their publication. So I think that's the way it's going to head, but it's going to be very exciting and to spawn a whole new industry in the publishing side for e-readers.
For content creators, it's a really exciting opportunity. It takes their content out of the browser into a more kind of, I think, a friendlier environment, which I feel adds more value to the consumer in a content sense and also adds the potential of additional financial value for the creator.
Well, it's pretty clear. You only have to look at Christmas sales on Amazon. For the first time, e-book sales outstripped physical sales. So I think there's a really interesting market that will emerge over the next 2 to 3 years.
I think this is going to be great. It's going to give me something else to read on the train other than MX, which I'm over. So, look, I think catch-up TV, videos, books, magazines, online newspapers, games, it's just almost going to be endless. There'll be subscription models like the app, current subscription models for various content. There'll be app-style models such as the App Store on the iPhone.
Yeah, it's a hard one to answer because there still hasn't been mass take-up of either device, an e-reader or a tablet. Certainly, when you look at the e-reader, seems to be really into the realms of books. The tablet, I think, will take over mobile computing. So I think what we'll see is those two devices diverge, I think. And that's great news for publishers. I think a lot of the content will be paid for. It'll be local. Ads will have to be highly targeted. So I think you'll see different types of advertising turn up on the tablets than you do on the PC.
The iPad and other tablets is actually really a fantastic opportunity for publishers. It's actually giving them a second bite of the cherry. So where they lost out with the web and have really struggled to monetize that, we've seen stats through the iPhone App Store in particular that show people are prepared to pay for content, but just not through a web browser. And I think the tablet gives them a really good opportunity to actually monetize that content finally in a true way, so they had better take advantage of it.
Look, I'm extremely excited about the launch of the iPad. I think the iPad will do for publishing what the iPod did for music. And let's face it, Apple haven't got it wrong yet.
I think we'll definitely see a plethora of content being released and available for subscription through these devices. How successful they will be, I think, is yet to be seen, but it's definitely the next wave of hype. I heard the iPad described this morning as an oversized Swiss Army knife, which I thought was hysterical. And so it remains to be seen, but I definitely think it's being perceived as the next battleground for content and a way to recoup some costs of content.
And the e-reader market's far larger than I think even what we're thinking within the iPod at this point. What's going to lead with it? Like with most things, probably pornography, and then leading into other areas. I think it will be, people will be willing to pay for it if it's attached to existing subscriptions such as mobile. What we're seeing with mobile data is that people don't mind subscribing to some of these elements, and I think if iPad and others can start to get their things in place, then I think we will see that it will be a pay model.
Well, I think the iPad promises to be an incredible device, and we're going to see all kinds of applications on it. But I don't think we should forget that it's going to be an excellent reader, I think, different than reading on a PC, and I think that opens up huge opportunities for the iPad. There's also going to be all kinds of things on the iPad that we can't even imagine because they're being developed now by thousands of people around the world.
I think e-readers are just another device for accessing the internet. And I think the traditional publishers have all jumped on them with demos that look like the kind of CD-ROMs we were building in 1994 and pretending it's new and interesting and hoping for dear life that they can commercialise those things. But I think they're all on the wrong bandwagon.